go crazy Broadway style! Are you Bart?
I need closure on that anecdote.
So,
You look like a man who needs help satisfying his wife.
Looks like those clowns in Congress did it again. What a bunch of clowns. Well, hot dog, we have a winner.
Springfield.
Misappropriation.
that's my thing that I say!
No pig.
Who are you to resist it, huh?
If it isn't the Simps.
Welcome to my Shorts of Simpsons podcast, everybody. It's a podcast about the Simpsons. We talk about Homer, we talk about Bart, Marge, Lisa, and sometimes Maggie, believe it or not. This is Nacho Nova. I've been referring to myself as the Notch. This is what people call me. I'm one of the hosts. Hello.
Hello, Nacho Nova. Hello, the Notch. This is Irvin Nacho, the other host of My Shorts. I'm just laughing really hard because I feel like Mr. Burns predicted our podcast coming to fruition.
Simpsons predicted it.
What great audio.
And what a terrific audience. Thank you, everybody. This is a remote studio audience. This is a remote episode. Irvin and I are both on location this week. And by the way, that was Baby Elephant Walk, the Henry Mancini 8-bit version from the 8-bit Jazz channel on YouTube. Please check it out, everybody. So Greco Studio, this is one of those kinds of years where they're trying to diversify their business model. You know, it's tough times. So Irvin and I are both on location for Greco Studio. They sent me to over here to the Isotope Stadium, having a good time. It's the minor leagues, the sticks, you know.
It's a good, hey, at least we're on remote, right? At least we're not just staying at the house during this pandemic. Hey, baseball's back. Sports are back. That means that the world is back to normal and we can all just go back to going outside.
I think a remote studio audience is very happy to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
They've been all cooped up, right? We're all cooped up. I think even the kids are saying, let's go back to school. Let's go back to school. I think I'm going to start clapping when I talk. It just seems like a really effective way to speak.
Can we just like start taking like things that you do at baseball games and featuring them in our regular life? Especially like the rally, you know, like you're going through a rut. You're in a rut. Maybe we can have some sort of rally situation, some music.
I like to tell people to let's go, you know, just to pump up the crowd. to like kind of just spring a mosh pit on them. That really pumps the energy up too.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm having a bad night, I'll just get up and just pump everybody up, and hopefully it's like the president's speech and Independence Day. You just got to like get everyone just ready to go, just firing AKs everywhere.
I like to do like they do in professional wrestling and hold my hand up to mirror like I can't hear people. That's my trick.
And they kind of taunt them and like swish the hand around to your ear a little bit more. And then maybe turn to each side and turn them on each other to see who's the loudest one.
Yeah. Pit them against each other.
Wait, was this one? Or this one?
Yeah. This is the deadbeat corner of the audience. You folks are cool.
Like everyone just turns on them.
I've been to a lot of comedy shows where that happens. It's like, and you know what? Usually I'm sitting in the cool section of the audience. It just happens that way. What are you going to do?
Comedy shows are a little bit trickier, right? Like if you're sitting in like the good section, maybe you'll be featured in the act. Maybe Patrice O'Neill will make fun of you or your date.
I've had a lot of success starting mosh pits at comedy shows too. People really seem to like that when I go there. I recommend to the shorties, to the listening audience and the viewing audience, try it out at a comedy show that you go to. Just start a little mosh pit. It's kind of also comedy, so the performer has to like it.
Yeah, and if the performer is like doing really well, heckle them, or like start trying to make yourself a part of the show.
Well, you know, it is a community, right? It's a comedy community, and I think we all appreciate that.
Comedians want to be the best, and like they want to know if you think your joke is better during the show.
Well, and that's the good thing. Like, that's what I like to do before going to a comedy show is like writing a bunch of fun jokes and then like shouting down the comedian who's performing so that that way I can perform my superior jokes. It's kind of what it's like marketing, buzz marketing.
That's my cat there.
Irvin's cat is in the studio. I don't know if I know the name of your cat. What is the name of your cat?
Everyone here, meet the baby.
Ah.
She's here at the stadium with me. I was sent on location very quickly. Couldn't make arrangements, sharing a hotel with her, but so far so good. We're enjoying our time in Capital City.
Oh, the cat says the same thing.
Why don't you go over there in the warning track?
Oh yeah, I think she likes some of those the Red Hots.
She really likes it when I'm on air and just jumps on my lap. Well, I can't wait to get into this episode. I know we haven't mentioned which one we're doing. However, based on the both remote locations of the two hosts of Eat My Shorts, I think that the shorties can gather and make up their own minds.
It's true, folks. It's no accident that Irvin and I are both at ballparks right now. This is a bygone era. This is happier times. Let's take you back to the halcyon days with the episode that we're about to cover. You may be wondering what it is, and we're here to provide you with an answer.
Yeah.
We both know it, so brace yourselves, everybody, so that you will know it too. This is the episode that we love to call Dancin Homer.
Woo! Mm-hmm.
Oh no!
They're turning on us.
The remote studio audience, it's weird because it's like they're all coming in from Zoom, but I don't know why they're acting like that. Okay, I gotta turn.
Like they just lost their mind.
Okay, remain calm, everybody. Unless you want to start like little mosh pits of your own. I'm not here to discourage that, honestly. TBH.
Yeah. If you want, you can wait till after the show, and we'll throw a myriad of like 20 to 30 steel chairs on top of you.
Yeah. Happy to oblige, folks. Remote mosh pits. It's kind of new, but it's something that we're like in on the ground floor of.
It's good to be in the ground floor of the pit, Nacho Nova.
Yeah, it's a place of power, folks. A real like power center,
Lights, camera, act, diddly doddly doodly, action, Jackson.
Folks, I have some stats. These are wonderful stats. I know people look forward to the stats. I lay down in bed sometimes and I think about stats. I look forward to this so much.
Yeah, I can feel it sometimes. The shinning. You're just thinking, and I'm like, I bet he's thinking about stats over there.
Yeah.
You're just like, head like this.
Well, I mean, this is by no means a one-man job, you know what I mean? Like, this is a team. It takes a village, folks, to make Eat My Shorts a Simpsons podcast. And so sometimes Irvin will fax me some of these stats over on the wires get so hot.
Sometimes I'll send it via text if the wires are busy or they're being replaced.
We are not wieners.
I still laugh about it.
We're professionals, folks. This is like a real newsroom here that we got at Greco Studio now. Well, not. I mean, we're at stadiums right now. So it kind of is good to get away from the desk to kind of relax a little bit, get a tub of beer.
Y'all ever have that co-host chemistry where you can just send that fucking screen caption of something and the other person knows what you're talking about? That's Eat My Shorts.
It's true, folks. It's the fabric of our lives. But I mean, even though we couldn't be in the studio this week, we hope to be in the studio next week. But it is kind of cool to be in the stands right here, right now.
I did. Yes, we're back in the studio next week. We're back on the road. The way the world is going right now, everybody understands.
Now, I'm a little bit concerned, Irvin, because the viewers can probably back me up on this, that there seem to be a lot of folks at the stadium where you are right now. I hope everybody's keeping safe out there.
I'm just looking at your stadium, and it's definitely social distancing happening behind you. You can see 5 to 6 people spread out.
The Isotopes are having a tough time getting support here in the stadium today, folks. So if you're listening to this on the radio, head on over to the Isotopes. Plenty of parking spaces. Okay, yeah, it looks like the Capital City Stadium is packed to the gills, folks. It's a sardine can in there.
Capital City Stadium, home of the Capital City Capitals, is got 8,000 people in it today. Not gonna lie, but I'm up in the suite, so I should be able to steer clear of that dangerous coronavirus.
Now that is dangerous, folks. We hope that you're staying safe. Just wash your hands a bunch and don't touch your eyeballs. We have some wonderful stats, and I think that's pretty goddamn sweet, if you ask me.
Just want to say rest in power to a true patriot, Herman Cain.
Oh, and also rest in pizza to Herman Cain.
Founder of Pizza.
Can we also pour a little bit of O'Doul's out here, folks? We'll pour some out from our tubs of beer for Regis Philbin, famous person who appeared on The Simpsons. We enjoyed it. We will miss his beautiful eyes, or his valuable eyes, or whatever. What do you say? His valuable face?
Valuable voice. Famous game show host and famous muscle and fitness expert.
Yeah, and he held this because I'm a stats guy, and I'll start off with the Regis Philbin stat. He was the person who has spent the most number of hours on television. Number one, Regis Philbin. I
was told of that. Mm-hmm. It's a good stat. I thought it was Homer Simpson first, but I just assumed that. But Regis, come on, part of us all. Part of us all.
With all folks. Okay, so. And this episode, listen, we'll get into the nostalgia. We'll get into what we thought of it in a moment. But here's some cool ass stats. This is an episode we love and may also know as 7F05. Original air date November 8th, 1990. This is the second season, episode 5. Whoa, not a bunch of shit has happened in The Simpsons at this point. This is directed by famous Mark Kirkland and written by Ken Levine and David Isaacs. I have a little factoid. This is Mark Kirkland. You know how we always talk about Mark Kirkland and how he seems like somebody who's done so many episodes that we've covered?
Yeah.
This is his very first episode that he's directed.
This is the first one. We've been talking about this dude for the last 3 years.
Yeah. And they are like, well, we like his water. Let's give this guy a shot. Let's give this little youngster a shot.
Like it's water. This guy gets great coffee.
And this originally I already said when it aired. This featured, if you are in a situation where you're going to be open-minded and believe this episode featured Tony Bennett as himself. Tom Poston as the Capital City goofball. Daryl Coley. Oh, Daryl Coley is Bleeding Gums Murphy. I'll be goddamned.
Daryl Coley.
Do we know who that is?
Not I.
Hey, but
I brought that up.
This sounds like a different Bleeding Gums Murphy than in the first time they featured him, right?
It did sound like that. It sounded like they got someone that had a way better voice than the original Bleeding Gums Murphy.
A way better singing voice.
Way better singing voice is what I meant.
Okay, so
talk shit about.
Listen, we are expert singers. People may have heard some of the songs that we've done for this season so far, but
more of that.
We're working on an album, folks. We don't. This is kind of a world premiere news right now.
Hey, can you believe this is the same season as that? We started season 3 off with a bang. Nacho Nova had great song. I had a song about getting fired. I got my job back, by the way. I don't know if I ever mentioned that to you guys on the last several episodes.
It's technical, folks. He's no longer allowed to be called co-host. I should be referring to him as a special guest.
Right. Just an everyday special guest.
But it's okay. In a technical sense, and our lawyer, Cole Battle, looked into this. There's no clause that prevents me from featuring Irvin every single episode. And plus, I could feature 100 other special guests, too, with you.
I made one thing clear. I won't be a part of any new episodes, anything past season 20 something. I think Nacho had another guest on for that stuff, which is fine. I don't mind.
It's true.
But I'm here for the classics. I'm here for the short.
The show will still be sustained on the weeks when, we crunch the numbers and sometimes the numbers draw up like a new episode. We want to make sure the show is covered during those times, so we do have a fill-in. But he's wonderful. He's a wonderful part of the show.
Talk about him.
I haven't heard from him in a little while, mostly because I haven't responded to his emails. But
Right.
I'll get back to him soon.
just following up, and it just says, "How are you?"
And it's like the last, because he sends like a couple a day, and it's just like bump, bump, bump.
When does it get too awkward when you're like just chilling and you're like, I'll respond eventually, and then you just don't respond? And it's like, okay, do I have to reestablish content? How does this work if like I've ignored it for a couple of weeks or a week?
I like to introduce myself again and like give a little like fun fact about myself. Fun fact: I'm bad at getting back to emails.
Also, fun fact, I'm an Aries.
You will learn that you love it.
Yeah. Hey, not to go on a tangent there, but I do look forward to seeing the Eat My Shorts the album come out later this season.
Check it out, folks. We'll be able to promote it if you head to gracklestudio.com. That's probably where all this stuff is going to drop very quickly in terms of being able to purchase it and even pre-order it.
Right. You could also just pre-order it by tweeting us at Eat My Shorts Pod or sending us a message on Instagram and letting us know that you are interested in hearing us give you the music.
Yeah, we got some studio time booked. We got more ready to roll. But folks, listen, even though, this is kind of a music-centric episode, so it's not totally out of bounds to talk about this, hype up our own Eat My Shorts music career. We have, not music, no music except for Baby Elephant Walk a little bit later on in this first part of the episode.
Baby elephant walk, 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 do 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 do. That's the one, right?
That's the one, folks. Listen, and every time when we were able to go out to bars, back in the good old days, Irvin would always play that song on the jukebox.
Oh yeah,
and he would request it from the DJs too.
I would just just make my way through the crowd and just like yell at them when they couldn't hear me because they're playing music.
Yeah,
can you play Baby Elephant?
I was like, they got their own thing. They're not gonna listen. Irvin says, I can be very persuasive.
Irvin, they have their own predetermined playlist. They already know what they're gonna play. And I'm like, no.
You say, watch and learn.
Then I would slap an Eat My Short sticker on like the vinyl disc being played and ruin the night.
Oh yeah, I was at one of those shows with you, and then it sounded like this.
Yeah, that's what it did.
Kind of cool.
But they looked at me, and then like I just shrugged my shoulders and like did like the face, and then they all like said Irvin, and then the music started back up.
The remote studio audience likes that story.
That was the audience in Capital City. What you're hearing is 80,000 people laughing at once.
Oh, they can hear too. That's pretty cool.
Hey, so wait, did we mention what episode we're doing?
Yeah. Well, but we haven't really started talking about it.
Gave the stat.
You may be wondering how this episode is established, and it's a very interesting way because it's like, that episode we covered, the Telltale Head, how it starts off sort of in medias res, right when shit's happening. Here, it's like a wraparound episode,
Yeah, I don't think that they do this anymore, really, or I haven't seen it. I guess I haven't really seen anything lately, but
that's true.
You're right. It reminded me of the Telltale Head and the fact that like it started already deep into the episode, like we've seen with certain movies, and then they go back and tell you how they got there.
Yeah, super sitcom-y. They did a lot of stuff in like classic sitcoms from the 80s. Oh, Here's a little factoid. I learned that Ken Levine and David Isaacs are like a writing duo, and they write in a bunch of like classic shows like Cheers and Frasier and shit like that. You know?
Really cool. They wrote a tandem Simpsons episode.
Yeah, right in there. They did this episode. Listen, I was given a lot of factoids and stats for this episode, and they wrote only one other episode of The Simpsons together, and it was another one that we covered. I believe we covered this Saturdays of Thunder.
They covered they wrote the soapbox racer episode.
Yeah,
that's cool.
This one and that one, and that's it.
We have done that episode. I really enjoyed it. It's a good episode. Really funny too. If I think back about it, you should go check it out. One of the 90 or so Eat My Shorts episodes that are available to you as of today.
Well, check it out, folks. It's like a real library.
I'm assuming that during the pandemic that you guys have gone back and listened to other episodes of the show if you've missed a couple. Hopefully.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool things that you can do while you listen to a podcast, like I think we heard from previous participants on our show. I think it was Teddy Tids. He was saying that he conceived some children to the show. Him and his wife.
He also said he lost his one of his marriages to the show, which I don't want to identify with.
Yeah, that probably doesn't happen. That's an isolated incident, I think.
Yeah, I do like that he created life to the show.
Well, that's what we're about. Creativity. Yeah. This is the art podcast, right?
This is the art podcast.
This is something that we keep getting voted every single year, folks. There's a lot of competition.
I've seen it. Yeah. Reader's choice. People vote on it. Best podcast? Oh,
Eat My Shorts. The art podcast. The most listened to podcast of all Simpsons podcasts. It is the highlight of this day and age's podcast.
That's a good point.
He brings up great points. Whoever said that sounds like he pounds every night.
Yeah. And Blue Chew is a sponsor of the show, so we just got to give it up for them as well.
Give it all.
Okay. So when we're here in the bar, I mean, it seems like Homer could have used some Blue Chew. It's a real kind of downer mood when Homer's recounting his story of being a big fat loser, right? Well, he says something really dismissive like that.
Yeah. Very dismissive. He just says, what do you say? There's only one thing worse than being a loser. It's being one of those guys who sits in a bar telling the story of how he became a loser.
Oh, and yeah, with absolutely zero effort, he gets convinced to tell the whole story. And
all right.
It starts off with the Simpson family getting picked up in a charter bus to go see a game at the Isotope Stadium. I've never been involved in something like this, but it seems like a cool little event,
Yeah, I've never worked for a company that took me anywhere, but it seems like a cool thing for those that have those kinds of perks.
Yeah, I've never, and it was something that's popular here in Austin, Texas, where Eat My Shorts is based.
Yeah,
people take a lot of those little like charter buses to go, like, what do you call it, tailgate?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've never done that either. It just seems like a culture,
Let's do it tomorrow. Tailgating basically means you're pre-partying. You got like a bunch of booze. You got some music. You got your friends over. And you're getting ready for something to either open or start, right? It's like
tailgating was like you took a bunch of beer in your car to a game, and then like you just sat outside of your car in a parking lot and got drunk in a hot parking lot.
Yeah, you're right. I think tailgating is like ruining the game day experience of wherever you're going by just getting fucked up before like the starts or the event starts. That by the time the event starts, you're just kind of trying to go through the motions for the event to be over so you can go home and throw up.
That's what I understand tailgating to be. I've never done it, and I've never participated in it, but that's what, from what I understand people to describe it to be, that's what it seems like. And
friend of the show, Adam Reyna, is a big tailgater from what I've gathered. He loves to go do that with the Rangers and or Cowboys. So maybe when pandemic is over, we can be a part of that, and we can do a remote out there in some sort of tailgating situation.
That'd be fun. I had a really good time when we were able to participate and do a live show from South by Southwest, and I've been looking forward to doing another event like that.
Live show from South by. We had a great time.
It's been kind of cool being here at the stadium today. A few folks have recognized me.
Yeah.
I got my Filipino peanuts.
Yeah.
And a tub of beer.
That's that regional celebrity. I know him.
Yeah, that's also what it says on my jacket on the back.
And it just says, "Ask me who."
Yeah. It's a company, a company event night, right? Like it's bring your family and no more than 3 children night.
I enjoyed what Bart and Homer's conversation was as they're walking in. What did Homer told Bart to be happy that he's there because some of the players he may see tonight may make it to the big leagues one day. And then Bart's retort was, "Aren't we going to see any washed up major leaguers?" He's like, "Sure, we got a nice mix here." He's right.
Flash Baylor was one of the washed up guys. We see him later on.
Yeah, the minor leagues historically is for the young and not quite ready to go players, but also for the has-beens that are just trying to
catch them on the way up and you catch them on the way down.
It's a pendulum, guys. Life is a pendulum.
True. Or even young folks, they have an injury or something and they get kicked out, or they have a scandal and they get kicked out, and then they join the minor leagues again.
Right. So like if a player gets like some sort of procedure done, like for example, like when you mentioned your dad got a new dick or whatever, robotic dick, you have to go through the what do you call that, recuperation period, out 6 to 8 weeks, broken dick or whatever, and then you make way up through the minor leagues and you get back to the majors eventually.
And he does seem to be doing all right. The body has accepted it, and we all aspire to get to that point, but everybody's got to pay their dues, I guess.
It's the way that life works.
I also enjoyed the Homer's conversation where he was, because Marge was trying to encourage him to behave himself, and he was saying it was his responsibility to make a complete ass of himself.
Yeah, he get a little rambunctious a little bit, but he's right. That ticket gives him the right and the duty to make a complete ass of himself.
And this is at a company event, by the way, folks, just to reiterate. And
okay, yeah, you're right. We're still setting up the fact that they're still walking, and Burns and Smithers are at the opening of one of the what do you call those, hallways?
Yeah, it's like the little entrance where they take your ticket or something.
Yeah, he checked everybody's temperature and then he took their ticket.
And Smithers is there to, I guess he's doing the evaluation.
He's got his chart out on what kind of smiley face everybody's going to get.
And Smithers brings stamps to an event, a company event like this. A little stamp set.
Some foreshadowing there.
Yeah, it's true. Well, he's also annotating everybody, like evaluating them on the spot. Like we see the Gamble family or something weird like that. Those folks that walk up and they're like super generic looking, and they're in like in waste management or something. And Burns is like, he evaluates them. He's like, put a little happy face on their card.
That dude's got controlling the racket in Springfield. We need to keep an eye out on the Gamble.
Waste management. Hey, and did you notice this is the first time that I think that we hear the Carl voice, but it's in this different character of the Mr. Gamble.
You're right. It was the Carl voice.
And right after the Gambles, we see the famous.
If it isn't the Simps.
Famous Simps.
He really said that. Yeah, we usually watch these episodes together, folks. But since we're on a remote, different cities this week, watched it separately. Both sent each other a very laugh out loud, laugh my asshole off message. He said, "Mr. Burns."
So you watched it yesterday?
I watched it yesterday. I probably already watched it a couple of weeks ago on Disney Plus. You know, like whenever you like watch an episode, I think I was watching. It wasn't Simpson and Delilah. Maybe it was Brother Can You Spare Two Dimes. One of those early episodes. But when you just leave it on, it auto plays. So this one came on, and I just couldn't put it down. I was like, it was so funny. Maybe because it's one of those episodes that I hadn't seen in a very long time. I don't know about you.
Hey, I hadn't seen this episode in a really long time. But even from the scene where they're like entering the stadium, it was immediately like a super immersive episode. You know what I mean? Like I completely, until I started watching this episode earlier today, I had forgotten how much nostalgia that I actually have for going to see a baseball game, you know? Just it's crazy that just it stays in there. And I guess because it's been so long since I've been to see a game, it just blows my mind.
I got the itch, not gonna lie. Even though it's been like forever that I've been to an actual game in person, I want to go to a game in person. I think it's probably because of the pandemic, wanderlust that we have.
Yeah.
But I was like, fuck, I want to have a hot dog and a big ass beer and like just go chill in the stands and like watch fireworks when somebody hits a home run.
And it was fun because, you know, like the Isotope Stadium, it was sort of like the kind of thing that was reminiscent of something I'd seen in El Paso. Like the local minor league team out there was the Diablos.
Yeah.
And they started in a really, really rinky-dink stadium. It was something that was basically in a local park, you know, with the wooden bleachers and everything.
Of course.
Kind of like a middle school. And then it turned into, like, they eventually moved into a stadium kind of like the Isotope Stadium here, but like a little more fancy. Not like the capital city Capitals, but somewhere in between. But it was kind of it was fun to see them move up in status and have like a cooler, bigger stadium and have like bigger gimmicks and cooler fireworks and shit.
There aren't very many situations where I'm like, oh man, I wish I could go back to the old days. Usually because I'm Mexican, right? And I wasn't allowed to participate in a lot of things in the old days. However,
this is the Simpsons POC podcast, by the way.
Yeah, this is the Simpsons POC podcast, by the way. One thing I do wish I could have done, and I probably wouldn't have been allowed, like I said, because of my heritage, is enjoy the old style baseball parks. And there's just something about that. You get sold on what Americana is as a kid, and I think it depends on what you grew up with. But for me, like loving baseball as a kid, that's like a ballpark tour is great, and I wish I could go back and like be a part of those old ballparks, because a lot of these new ones are just very cookie cuttery. They're very just brand new. I don't know. Even the minor league ones, like for example in Frisco, they're like just brand new. It seems like it's, I don't know, man. It's the same thing with like getting a house in the suburbs that all look alike, you know?
Yeah. And it's like you're realizing, oh, it's all just the byproduct of business and capitalism and getting, maximum profit by investing very little in the resources and the design and just kind of cookie cuttering it.
Or like every fucking franchise that's up for a ballpark hires the same architecture or marketing firm, so they all kind of rotate the same design and maybe one or two little things in that's different.
Well, and probably they have like multiple people owning the same teams, or like kind of taking advice from the same people on how to do things, you know, like what kind of events to run in.
Usually the minor league teams now, I mean, they used to be just straight up independent, but now because they're all kind of tied in with major league teams or whatever, a lot of times the parent organization gets to pick all those things, including the uniform or even the design of the ballpark. So a lot of the autonomy is gone from what it used to be. I'm just saying, it's all become like a Walmart kind of situation, whereas in the past you'd see these ballparks. The Springfield one, the El Paso one for sure, the one that you're talking about. I never had that experience in Dallas. I think there was a minor league park in part of downtown, but most of baseball in Dallas is in Arlington, so I never really got to be a part of it.
Oh, that's a bummer, man. Hey, since in the time that you've lived in Austin, have you been able to go to any like the Round Rock games?
I've been a couple times.
Because that's the
For-
closest thing out here.
yeah, and it's a brand new ballpark, right? It's the Dell Diamond. Very fun. Very, what do you call that? A play on words for the corporation that founded it.
And
Yeah.
Richie sounding.
And it was they had an organizational what do you call that arrangement with the Rangers in the mid 2010s. So like all the Rangers, like young players, like Homer mentioned, oh, this is where like you see players that may be in the big leagues one day.
Mhm.
All the Rangers were there, so it was cool. So like in the early 2010s, I would go out to Round Rock and watch some baseball, minor league baseball. I
That'd
even
be
had their
fun.
hat.
Hey,
Yeah.
like I don't know if they've scrapped the latest season or whatever, but like when it,
Yes, only majors are playing right now.
well, in next season, like when it starts up again, it'd be fun to go.
Yeah, maybe they'll have an Eat My Shorts day.
Hey, we should do it, huh? At the very least, we can advise our street team attend and maybe
Yeah.
slap up some stickers.
Maybe they'll let us throw out the first pitch like Dr. Fauci.
And like Mr. Burns, after everybody gets into the stadium, and
Burns threw out the pitch.
yeah, and Homer is kind of like on his best behavior. We get to see Mr. Burns throw out the first pitch, and he did, like you say, it was a Fauci level performance.
Hey, listen, I ordered that baseball card. I think I texted you that same night. I was like, hey, I didn't even say anything. I think I just sent you the screenshot.
Oh yeah, has it arrived yet or not?
Not yet. I mean, I doubt they've even printed them, right? It'll probably take like a month or two.
I just think it's crazy in a general sense that Topps officially has a Fauci baseball card.
Hey, listen, you own a company, you want to take advantage. Does someone want your product? Who do you want on your product? I want a Fauci card. It seems like a very 2020 thing to do.
I heard that the media altered his terrible pitch.
You mentioned that you love Burns's pitch though.
It was, I personally was ROFLMAO.
You know who couldn't give a shit about the pitch? Flash Baylor.
The washed up guy, the one that Bart was looking forward to seeing, right?
Really wanted to get his autograph. I really feel like that's what Marge was thinking when she said, Bart, give me that ball. I'm going to go over there to Flash Baylor and make sure that you get an autograph. And what did she do? She did.
Well, speaking of energy, I think she was getting a lot of sexual energy from Flash that she hadn't counted on, because the ball had that, like, his hotel room on it.
This ball is sticky.
And Homer was impressed, though. There's a lot of videos that Teddy Tid sent us where he does seem to be a cuck.
I've seen these videos only as research for my Shorts Simpsons podcast, also the Texas podcast.
So it's interesting to see Homer kind of like getting really impressed that other men find his wife so hot.
Oh, he loved it. I think
Yeah.
he came.
But seriously, who knows what happened later on this night? But you could see that he would like in those old Looney Tunes cartoons, like his eyes got real big and his tongue fell out of his mouth.
Yeah, it looked like there was a situation going on because when I saw the Jumbo Vision, it looked like Homer needed to examine his zipper because things that's.
Why is he? Oh my gosh! Hey, one thing I noticed is that the Jumbotron also amplified his voice. Did you notice that?
I noticed that.
Everybody could hear, and there was echoing, like his voice was really loud when he was noticing his zipper was down. I certainly hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
He was thanking everybody. He's like just waving and thanking them.
Well, he loved his fans, his listening audience, and his viewing audience. Hey, so this was really reminiscent, like they must have sent somebody out to do some detail work on minor league baseball stadiums, because this is how they used to look at that time.
Yeah, it made me want to shop at Royal Majesty.
Oh, look, clothing for the obese or gangly gentleman. That's what you can currently see behind me. The viewers are getting the full experience. You get some Springfield savings, doing a little bragging. There was also an ad for Moe's. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't see the Moe's ad, actually. I didn't see the Moe's ad at
It was
all.
like, the ball goes through here. Like, get the ball through here, and you get a free well drink at Moe's.
Do you think it had like it was like Carney proof, like the hole was like a fake hole that was like painted on or whatever?
It's true.
Like-
Yeah, there was like a fan blowing, so you could never get the ball in there.
So the hole is open, but there's a deluxe like jet engine behind it. It just put the big
And if that fails, they can hire a sniper to like sit on top of the announcer's box to kind of take care of that ball. Okay, and then we get the anthem. This is something that, because we were experienced growing up with this in elementary school, we understand that you have to stand for the anthem.
You have to.
For the entire thing, or else you're like disrespectful.
You're not patriotic. Hey, and I used to stand for the Eat My Shorts is a podcast based in Austin, Texas, so it is the Texas podcast. I used to have to stand for the Texas anthem too.
You remember sometimes they, like, certain schools or certain classes I went to, they would make us sing it,
Yeah.
Damn,
They told me to cut my finger and put blood on the flag to show that I was a patriot.
Yeah, no joke. They did have a flag hanging in each classroom, and each of us, I don't know, like, it was kind of one kid per day, but we would each have to prick our finger and put a dab of blood on the flag, the Texas flag specifically.
Yeah. When it's your turn and you're just like, oh no, I'm gonna have to prick myself.
And it was kind of like when you see kids like scratch their name into a desk or something, you would see all this old blood from like lots of previous years. It was kind of disturbing.
It's turning brown and stuff. Very weird.
That's just a little piece of Texas history, folks. I mean, things may be different in different states. This may happen all over the country, but I don't know. I only grew up in one place.
We do want to provide that to you. Yo, Burn
the Texas podcast.
The Texas podcast.
Eat my shorts.
The Texas podcast. You know what I'm talking about?
Everything's bigger out here. Know what I mean?
I'm really glad we didn't lay it on too thick.
I wanted to see your utopia.
I don't know how familiar you are with baseball, but that was super common in the 70s and 80s. For some reason, every stadium just decided that people didn't need to walk to the mound, so people would be brought in a little buggy. And it was usually a big baseball, and like the frames of it that held up the baseball were baseball bats. Very big baseball gimmick in the 70s and 80s, even for minor league teams.
It did seem like it was sort of, at that point, like, cool for them. It seemed like they felt like it was cool to own a golf cart,
Yeah.
Because they did feature it every single game. Yeah. That was a real thing of the period. Of course, long anthem. Some people, it was their showcase, like Bleeding Gums Murphy. So you got to like make that moment count, because it was always somebody in the community, And I guess somebody in this community is Bleeding Gums. He makes it count. A lot of this stuff really rang true, not only just like the billboards and shit like that, but the organ music, like somebody up in the booth playing organ music, the announcer just kind of killing time. They do, and even up to this day, they seem to be able to just kind of talk about whatever they want, kind of like a podcast. Oh, one thing about the anthem that I wanted to mention, that because I wanted to actually do a little bit of research this episode. The anthem, when Bleeding Gums Murphy starts singing it, 7:30, he finishes 7:56, so 26-minute anthem. And this show devoted 1 entire minute to that gag of the super long anthem. So that's like a significant chunk of time in this episode.
Baseball, baby. What else? Burns throws like foul. Mentioned that, right?
Yeah, check it out, folks. Bleeding Gums Murphy. Very good anthem. Okay, so I think we mentioned that Mr. Burns sits with Homer. They're being very chummy. And up until the late in the game, They're having a good time drinking a couple of buckets of beer, right? And when everybody, I guess, in the stands is sort of low energy, they're being low energy losers. Homer tries to pump up the crowd, and he dances. We know Homer to be a energetic person. This is what he's known for. Guys, seriously, like, if Homer is the person that's pumping people up, this must be a really low energy crowd.
So low energy.
But they love it, though. Everybody loves it except for Mr. Burns. Mr. Burns gets pissed off. Hey, but Homer, I guess, ignites enough energy among these local yokels to get the mediocre batter to hit a home run, right?
Pre-Cletus. Wait, and it wasn't George. It wasn't Babe Ruth, like the fourth or whatever. What was the name of that fucking guy?
That guy, I don't know. I heard that one of the writers named a lot of the characters in this show off of people that he worked with because he was a minor league. He worked in the minor leagues in some capacity.
Really?
Yeah, this is just a little bit of, and it'd be kind of cool if I had remembered it, but.
He worked with Big Bill McCloskey in like accounting.
Yeah, check this out. Ken Levine, and he also did a guest voice in this episode as I think the announcer, but he'd worked as a minor league baseball announcer before the episode was produced, so he was able to give directions to the animators on the characters' looks and ambiance of the episode. Hey,
directions on the looks. I can give that.
Yeah, like what kind of looks did what was his direction? I wonder. Like animate the background characters super simple.
I've never been in the position that Homer was in where you're like drinking with your boss at a baseball game, but it sounds kind of cool. I feel like I could take that challenge on.
It's stressful. Work things where you drink at the same time are always stressful because you feel like you kind of have to be professional, but that's not what you feel like you want to do. So you're always writing that line. You're very aware of how you're coming across to other people, At least in my experience, it's stressful. I don't normally have to consider that much.
What was I going to say? It is very stressful. God, I can't imagine. I was just kidding. I don't want to do that. Although my boss is.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I haven't worked enough cool jobs, and I think the current job that I'm working at is very cool, and I wouldn't characterize it that way.
Yeah, I haven't heard from the gorilla in a minute. Actually, I don't know what's happened over there.
I haven't seen anybody in the office in forever.
Everybody's gone.
So Burns is pissed off, even though Homer kind of inspires the stupid batter to hit a home run. Burns is pissed off that Homer created a spectacle of himself, but Homer loved it because that was the energy that he wanted to feed off of. He was intoxicated by being a spectacle.
Yeah.
Oh my God! And this is where he meets Antoine Tex O'Hara after the game in the parking lot.
I'm Antoine Tex O'Hara. Now you were telling me you're a big fan of his name. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, I thought it was funny. And then that's the commercial break. Listen, folks, we got to take a commercial break too. Stick around. We'll be right back. And we hope you like this stuff because it'll make your life better, okay?
Ching, ching.
The Simpsons will be right back.
Dos huevos, por favor.
Don't be afraid to use your nails, boys.
These guitars are like those guitars, Gee, if I want to smoke going up my ass, I'd be at home with a pack of cigarettes and a short length of hose.
I hate America.
It's true, folks. Welcome back to Eat My Shorts, a Simpsons podcast. Namaste. We hope your chakras are aligned and you are ready to continue this wonderful episode of The Simpsons with us. The Notch here with you as always. Hello.
That was taken out of context. This is Irvin Castellanos. Hello, everybody. Eat My Short to Simpsons podcast back.
It's true. That was a rough day. We were both working 16-hour days that one day, so it was kind of rough. We were all at our wits' end. You know what I mean? Folks, listen. This is By the way, you're listening to a little tune called Caterpillar by DJ Karaoke. This is the Rabbit in the Moon mix. You may have heard it on the Flying Hellfish, whatever, Grumbling Grandson, Abe Simpson. You know the episode.
The Gremlin grandson. Grandpa gets Bart wet.
Yeah, check it out on Disney Plus, folks. What a wonderful episode. Hey, but this episode was like pretty good too. Like, I don't want to give it away because that's later on for the ratings. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of gotta like be secretive with that stuff.
Sorry.
No, what I didn't even see.
The viewers are getting the full experience.
Oh shit! It
God
happens,
damn.
folks.
Shit. My cat calling me. I'm sorry.
Hey, we both have studio cats now. If you think about it, whenever we do these things remotely, because we both have to bring them on location with us.
Yeah, we'll both be like holding them like Dr. Evil.
Hey, why did they characterize like evil people holding cats and good people holding dogs? Like, what's up with that? Come on.
Yeah.
Unfair.
People hold animals. What is like the most craziest animal you've seen somebody hold like they would hold per se a cat or a dog?
Not like a monkey.
Yeah.
Just because I don't see it a bunch, you know. Just like, oh shit, like where did that come from? But yeah, seriously, the people who hate cats, like, is that like, are they secretly racist or something? Like, how come they're so open to hate?
They're against cats. I don't understand.
Who can do that? Please, the cat is looking. She's pleading with the audience. The cats want you to love them, please. They're just like us.
You want to be loved?
This is the Cat Podcast, folks.
It really is, if you think about it. Also, the Texas podcast, and it's also, believe it or not, the Simpsons podcast.
Yeah, absolutely, folks. Hey, so listen, the Simpsons each one of the Simpsons is in this scene in a real integral way. I have notes on each of them, believe it or not.
We have a couple notes that I'd like to. I don't think I took care of in the first act, so just bear with me here, Notch. I do want to mention that there was a giant man boy that was there with his wife and his baby, and I think we've seen him before. I believe it was in the Jocks episode where Marge keeps seeing things that remind her of like romantic shit. And anyways. Early Simpsons, the characters look crazy. I feel like I need to name this segment, which always happens after the first act, which is me coming back and remembering all the things that I forgot to talk about. So I'm going to call that Irv's Rewind. Whoa.
I have a sound effect for it.
Yes.
This is the rewind segment. Hang on. Oh, God.
The gunshot. Oh, yeah.
Oh, here we go. Watch. Check it out.
Uh-huh. Whoa. Oh, you there? The rewind segment. I just wanted to say that giant man boy was there with his wife and regular sized baby. Also, we talked about the employee cards, people having, like Smithers taking note of the people's behavior, I guess, for future event. That was my rewind segment for Eat My Shorts, a Simpsons podcast.
And one thing that happens on those little evaluation cards that we didn't mention was that because of Homer's outburst, he gets banned from all future company events.
Yeah, banned. Did it look like Smithers took pleasure in that?
Oh, he loved it.
He's already like out for Homer, right?
You don't gotta tell me twice, sir. This is not a rewind segment for me, sir.
Sir, I'm only looking forward here.
Not backwards. He brought stamps. We talked about this earlier.
The little on the report card. This looked like it was like my sister was in kindergarten. She'd come back with like the green smiley or the yellow, I guess, uninterested face and the red frowning face.
Hey, or sometimes they'd put your name up on the board if you were being bad, remember?
And And then like if you kept being bad, they would add like check marks to it
Yeah.
on the side.
And then eventually they'd strike your name out, draw an X through it, and draw a skull and crossbones. You were in for it.
And then at the end, when your check line next to your name line just kept getting longer, you would like create a profile around it. And then for some reason, that would also get you in trouble for the way that you filled it out.
You know, I think in our experience, a lot of people did love to stifle our wonderful creativity. Thankfully, now we have an outlet, and people appreciate this sort of artistic output. You know, we were probably just before our time. You know, we were like ahead of the game.
We're very, we really had to scratching your way back up.
Oh, and you know what? Speaking of being ahead of the game, we're just a little bit ahead of the game for the next part of the episode that we're talking about. Like, we're a little bit early. Didn't we? Okay, so we left before the wonderful commercial break. We were talking about Homer beating Antoine Tex O'Hara, being approached in the parking lot to get back onto the charter bus. But that guy made an offer for Homer to be the mascot for the Isotopes, like in the parking lot. And it was a very pivotal moment for Homer, and he hemmed and hawed, but somebody gave him just kind of that $1 million idea for a name, and so he must have had to accept the deal.
Yeah, he really needed to concentrate on that name too.
Did you watch? I mean, we probably both watched this on Disney Plus, but like it was interesting to see it on a big screen because it looked like there were certain points, like during the national anthem, where you could tell, like, oh, like I'm really seeing the handmade nature of this. Like when you watch like one of those old claymation specials, and you can see like people's fingerprints and shit like that. You know?
Yeah, you could see someone's fingerprint on this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We've talked about this, like the early episodes, how much we love the hand-drawn anime. Well, not, you know what I mean? It wasn't yet like a computer generated or whatever.
Yeah.
Or computer.
Wild West. Like each like one of the lead animators or the directors, they probably had their own style. You know, that's why the Simpsons kind of looked a little bit different here and there.
Yeah, it's why sometimes Smithers was black.
They said it was an animation error, but I think they're like backpedaling, you know.
Right.
But what do I know? I'm just like a fan guy and also Simpsons historian, so kind of I know like a lot of shit.
I really like that Tex O'Hara gave Homer that opportunity to work for a Bush League team. It was a big deal.
It was, and he's bringing it up to his family, and you can tell he really cares. And it's interesting that he instantly gets, well, even though everybody's kind of skeptical at first, when he lets them know how meaningful it is to him, they all back him. You know, everybody's on board. So he signs up for it, and they're all into packing and going to Capital City. That was big.
Homer had cool jobs at the beginning that would make Bart be proud of him, like Pin Monkey or minor league baseball team mascot.
And they didn't repeat this gimmick. Well, actually, you know what? They repeated it a couple seasons later with Cape Fear, but it didn't seem like a big moment until, like, you know, the Scorpio episode where they moved to Cypress Creek, you know. But I'd forgotten that this early in The Simpsons, they're already moving up, packing out, and getting out of town, getting out of Springfield.
Everybody not caring about them.
Yeah, that was great. I like the goodbyes, you know. I mean, Bart tried, like, you could tell his thing with Milhouse was a meaningful goodbye because they became Spit Brothers.
Spit Brother.
But things changed pretty quick, right? Homer takes the gig, and the first game is with the Arlington Drifters. I'd never seen that before, but I feel like because I was watching it on the big screen, I caught a lot of extra details.
I don't like that name.
The Drifters?
I don't like that they're named after Arlington. They should have been the Dallas Drifters.
Is Arlington close to Dallas? Oh, it's like the rival. Is it like the Shelbyville of Dallas?
Hell no. They wish they were the Shelbyville of Dallas.
I guess my gosh. They're like the North Haverbrook.
They're like the Ogdenville.
Oh, no.
They're the bum town. Oh! You know talent bum?
Oh, my gosh. You heard it here first, folks. And we represent multiple area codes on this podcast, primarily 915, 214, and 512.
The triumvirate, they call it.
And also, you can call the show, leave a message, 512-333-0420. Sometimes we do call-in stuff, maybe later on in this episode, too.
Most of the time, we give away prizes, too. So that is a good number to keep in handy.
Hey, we got a lot of prizes.
New prizes.
Okay, listen, folks, listen. Kind of like, when you're there at a concert and then they wrap it up and you're waiting for the encore, you make a big, fuss for them to come back on stage. We understand that at this point in the episode, it's there's a lot of anticipation building up because it's sort of the debut of Homer Simpson as Dancin Homer. He designed his own costume and everything. He's into it.
People are having heavy breathing. I like the H on the shirt. I like the hat. Very cool. The cape.
The suspenders. And the shorts. This is atypical of Homer, but I guess he thought it'd be fun and it would match his style of public spectacle.
Yeah.
People love it. He's a hit. They win that first game, I think. And there's Dancin Homer t-shirts at this point already.
Thomas nachos. The kids are loving it.
And the Simpsons were being meta at this point already.
The Dancin Homer t-shirt, one of those t-shirts I feel that's in the show that I want. The other one probably from the Burns Alien episode, right? There's been a ton. I guess I want the Bartman or I didn't do it shirt too. So there's 3. Oh no, the About to Knock the Other Guy Out from Homer versus Tatum. There's at least 4 shirts I want.
That's a good one too. Homer was wrong is a good one. Or Homer is a dope.
All sold out of that.
Also, what's a good one? Get a mammogram, man.
Love that one.
I appreciated Homer's Rasta version, his reggae version of Baby Elephant Walk when he was getting into the zone, Homer was successful at what he was doing. Good mascot. He could make some musical direction with the woman who was playing the organ, that the older lady.
You loved her. You appreciated the stuff she had on her wall.
And there was those couple of Jamaican guys that were enjoying that version.
You think Homer and them got high during that?
Hey, and this was be prepping for the show. We were watching some organ videos of Baby Elephant Walk,
right?
And you started talking about organs, and I was screaming at you to stop so that we could save it for the TV show.
Save it for the TV show that we have.
The one that we're recording now. Well, it's also going out live too.
Live show. You're telling me to say the line. I didn't do it.
The fans are asking for this.
All I was going to say is I think I came upon the possession.
We're not taking calls.
And
taking calls.
The calls are lining up already. They want to know about
sorry. Okay. Please continue, Irvin. I'm sorry.
You're here with Eat My Shorts, a Simpsons podcast with Nacho Nova and Irvin Castellanos. Hello, listener, Shorty.
I've tried to hang it up. Please call back.
Make sure to call back and we'll be sure to go right to
I'll hit redial.
All I was going to say is I love organs, right? The organ sound. So baseball-y, so I don't know, old school.
You were mentioning that you had an organ in your past. Was that a foolish prank on me?
Yeah,
I'm about to go ape shit.
I previously had an organ, but it lost its possession at my house, I guess. I don't know what happened to that organ. I guess we probably threw it away. But yeah, when I was younger, I was like, what is this? I thought it was a piano, but it would make crazy noises, right?
I don't know if I've ever...
Sorry, I never went to church, so I wasn't familiar with the church organ.
Can I tell you something? It's interesting that you brought up the church organ because I recently went down a little research wormhole, and I was in like learning about the Hammond organ, the first sort of mass market electric organ. The only reason I was doing any of this is because I got some new synthesizer equipment, that I'm eventually hoping to use on the show when I figure it out better. But I'm trying to learn about synthesizers, and I was just like learning about electronic music and early electric organs and like how they work and everything. It's a trip. The Hammond organ, that's where they got their start, was in the church, and then it became a consumer product, and then it became big with rock and roll.
That would have been a really cool boomerang of it, right? It's like a big church thing, but then it becomes like a counterculture thing. Use like in underground parties or something.
Hell yeah, it was the church's fault that rock and roll kind of hit it big because it was a cool sound, those organs. And remember, I don't know. I mean, you're saying you didn't go to a lot of those like minor league games and shit like that, but
no,
that was sort of a staple a little bit back then.
I had a different introduction to the organ, actually. Like I obviously loved it in baseball settings. And it's weird, but the team, the baseball team for the area that I'm from that I like, which is the Rangers from Dallas, they have an organ player. So I guess baseball is starting to bring them back and actually feature, which is really cool. But I learned of organs for the first time as just a musical instrument in a band, which is really weird. But in northern Mexico, the biggest band in the town that I was from featured heavily, and I mean, like, it was like the instrument that made the songs was the organ.
What was the band?
They're called Los Garza, or the Garza.
Interesting.
Nuevo Leon, yeah, and their biggest, like, the reason that people remember their music is because of the organ that they play. And I'll show you off mic later.
Yeah, and there are some like bands in America that, because I listen to the oldie station in El Paso, Texas, 92.3 The Fox, folks, please. But they played all that old shit like from England or whatever, but there was a lot of bands in England too that hit it big with one of those Hammond organs, the electric organs, being their signature sound. Did
they have guitar at all?
No, but it's like it's electric, so it kind of, there's like some sort of spinning mechanism in there. It oscillates. Fucking, I don't know how it works.
Totally. The reason I ask is I'm just wondering. So it was also the major, I guess, instrument sound, because in this band they also had a guitar, but they were just there. The organ was like leading the song or whatever.
Yeah, and there's like some sort of tone wheel generator in there, and then it's so insane. I'm trying to learn about like how all this stuff works on a real basic level, and I'm fried. You know what I mean? It's so complicated.
Yeah, you guys will see it too, because we're starting to fuck around with it on the show, or maybe just on the Patreons. But we had it at the end of the last episode a little bit.
It's true, folks. But listen, we're here to talk about The Simpsons. We were just like geeking out on organs because that's some cool stuff.
I agree with you. I wish I had an organ still. I wish that my family hadn't thrown it away. Probably it's probably what happened.
Hey, yeah, the party house when I was a little youngster, like 18 years old or whatever, the party house I used to live in, we had a little electric organ in there, and that shit was fun.
Was it like kind of like in the center of attention area, or like this is like the party would start?
Like there'd be women sort of like hanging around with us and snapping their fingers, like
women around. Yeah. Well, and then the organ pipes would have like smoke coming out of them for some reason.
And also it was weird because the pipes would like contract and bend, and when the smoke would come out, they would sort of like dance to the music. It was pretty cool.
Whenever you were playing the organ, it looked like you were playing it so well that like the keys would react to your touch and like would fly up, and they would like become animated in some sort of way.
Yeah. And sometimes if you play a real good song on those instruments, like those old organs, the legs of the piano will bend and kind of like rock to the music.
Yeah. It looked like the puffs of smoke coming out of the organ pipes were like happening in tandem and in unison and then like in some sort of rhythmic fashion.
That's something that people don't appreciate about like you playing traditional instruments. You can really make those things dance and sing.
Nothing like old school music.
Hey, speaking of dancing and singing, I am singing a song of high praise to Dancing Homer.
I love this episode. Hey, come on. Organs are a big part of this episode. I feel like that's justified.
Yeah. Listen, in a big part of his success and a big part of small local baseball's success. And something I think I haven't seen replicated very well in modern times is the super fun gimmicks that baseball used to have.
So many gimmicks.
You remember you get like all these fun prizes just for going?
Yeah. There'd be like a number underneath your seat or something, and like every inning there'd be a prize. I don't know. Sonic gives you a year's worth of free burgers if you're a fan 345, and you look underneath. Oh my God! And the camera's on you.
Like, yeah, drag some asshole out here to like hit a baseball and try to make him hit it through a loop, and he'll get like a free oil change or something.
The taxes on it will be like more expensive to him. Yeah, that's like owing money.
Yeah, as soon as you turn your license over to the local baseball stadium HR team, the cops will run it and they find warrants on you.
MSRP $200. They run the check and they go arrest you at your baseball seat in the stadium.
Yeah. Your family has to spend the night in the car in the parking lot.
You won the prize, but took him to jail.
It's very disturbing.
We love these baseball park gimmicks. You remember these?
They were so much fun. But I don't think I've seen that replicated very well. I mean, even Cracker Jack prizes, a very integral part of baseball, very gimmick heavy, but they've gone downhill.
Yeah. They need to get
fun.
That mascot is very outdated.
Well, one thing I remember about going to a lot of old Diablos games was one popular gimmick was having famous mascots from other baseball teams come in and like hype it up in the stadium,
Would the Diablo murder the other mascot or take him into hell or whatever?
They would fight. They get into gunfights, maybe play some James Bond music, and then one of them would break the neck of the other one. Like, for example, the San Diego Super Chicken, remember?
San Diego Chicken's very famous mascot.
And there was also Philly Fanatic. And you know what? Like now that I'm thinking about it as an adult, it was probably just some bozo buying a replication costume.
Yeah.
They're not touring. It's just some fool buying a stupid gimmick fucking knockoff bootleg costume.
Until you fucking said that, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe the Fanatic goes all the way from Philly to El Paso.
I just realized it. They just buy a duplicate costume.
Well, we don't know that. We don't know if they go to Costume World or whatever.
Hey, but they would hype this up in the commercials that they play on TVs and the radio. So what are you going to do?
Versus Diablo. Like they have the fight each other versus screen or whatever. With the
like the Tatum and Simpson fight.
Yeah.
Well, this was a big, in cities where this was available in America, this was a big part of just the local scene, the local culture, they really hyped it up.
What are the mascots you're familiar with? So we got the El Paso Diablo and the Mountaineer. Did you have any others?
Yeah, there was the UTEP minor guy.
It's not Mountaineer. Oops.
Yeah, damn. Other than that, there was the El Paso hockey team at one point. I think they were called it was for a publicity gimmick, but they changed their mascot to the cow patties.
Okay. So did they have pieces of shit with shrooms growing out of it as their logo, or what do we got?
I think it was. Do you remember the Cow and Chicken TV show, the cartoon on Cartoon Network?
I do. Is that what the Diablo's logo was? Was it the bad devil with the big ass?
No, the Diablos actually had a cool logo, but the stupid cow patties, they ripped off the cow for their logo.
Front or back? Were they showing udders or the cow ass?
I think it was the udders, the front and they drew it with hockey stick or something. You know, but.
Hey, if you haven't checked it out, check it out. Cow and Chicken, funny show from Cartoon Network in the early 90s.
Please check it out.
Mama had.
So Homer's a hit, right? Even though, like, at one point he's bummed because the Isotopes lose, the announcer's bummed, but he gets called into the office of the Antoine Tex O'Hara, you know, and he thinks he's going to get fired, but he's getting called up to the big leagues, Capital City. Oh my gosh, folks! This is a new place, new lore in the Simpsonverse. Capital City is the capital city of whatever state Springfield is in.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, I love that they called the capital city, and the team is called the Capital City Capitals.
Capitals. And the I thought it was cool. The Shelbyville team was the Shelbyvillians.
The Shelbyvillians.
Kind of generic.
So only Springfield had original name, and it was the Isotopes.
Well, it was such a good name that they copied it in real life. Simpsons predicted it.
And then they moved him to Kirky.
Mm-hmm. When Homer gets called up to the big leagues, this is when I'm saying everybody was kind of like going with it, saying goodbye. So Homer's excited because like his whole family's going along with it, and he this is when they re-enter that sort of gimmick where he's retelling everybody at the bar about what's going on, and he calls Marge his big dumb wife. He's sort of like foreshadowing that things are about to, go south. Or as they say in the Southern Hemisphere, things were about to go north.
Yeah. With a big giant engine helping you.
Yeah. I'm trying to be respectful to our listeners in Australia.
Yeah, we got a lot of hate mail for me taking a second and a half to realize that their giant Australian man baby is named Tobias.
Yeah, and listen, I remember when I was editing the episode, I was trying to think of the name of the father, and I still haven't come up with it. Yeah. Rufus, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Cletus. Cletus the slack-jawed yokel. Yes.
The slack-jawed Australian.
Oh no!
What? Why am I getting banned? What?
Mo is upset, and he's very tolerant of a lot of shit.
You're right, Milhouse. Fun is fun.
Oh, dear God, no.
Are you Bart?
Okay, listen, folks.
It's getting out of hand.
Okay, the remote studio audience is becoming upset.
We're talking about mascots. Capital City Football, baby. We talked about the Fanatic, the Diablo. We didn't talk about Gritty. Gritty's probably the biggest mascot in the game right now.
Well, he's a new guy now, yeah.
New guy. He's got the crazy eyes that you would get when you would make arts and crafts or something.
Didn't the Philly Fanatic commit harikari so that so that Gritty could live on?
Aren't they from the same city?
Yeah.
How does Philly get all the best mascots?
That's a good question. But you know what? I think something I heard is the people that originally came up with the Philly Fanatic are suing Major League Baseball. They're suing the team because there was some sort of violation in their original agreement with the copyright, I'm not even joking around. So check it out, folks, because there's some animosity. I guess the mascot was so successful that the Eagles, or what? Not the Eagles. What's the name of the Philadelphia team? You're
talking about the Flyers.
Flyers? That's hockey, right? No. Flyers is baseball?
Phillies. Sorry.
Phillies. There you go. So they're the Philadelphia Phillies. That sounds like a made-up thing.
Jacking yourself off there. The El Paso El Pasians.
Oh my God! Remember, it's the Austin Austinites.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Hey, Austinite sounds cool, like Isotopes.
The Austin East Austinites. East makes its way into the mascot name, but not the actual city name.
You just got to protect the culture that remains on the East Side, folks. when they head to Capital City, they play a wonderful tune right here. I got stats. It was written, the music and the lyrics by Jeff Martin, Simpsons writer.
You say, let's blow this pop stand. Never look back.
Oh, they said goodbye to Patty and Selma. It wasn't like when they leave to Cypress Creek where everybody in town says goodbye. It was just like Patty and Selma and Flanders.
Flanders, that's it? Oh, and Spit Brother.
Oh, Millhouse and Janie Powell and Lisa's friends. Oh,
Yeah.
and Homer's supervisor was very happy to grant him a leave of absence.
Dude, I have this on my notes. I was like, this is the funniest shit I've ever seen.
And you know,
Guys are
in
getting
hindsight,
a decade off.
Patreon listeners, they may have heard our latest Patreon exclusive podcast where it's like an extra dose of Simpsons news and we have a Homer Simpson quiz on it. We found out that apparently Homer Simpson is a low-level employee at the power plant. I thought he was high-level. We both got that question wrong.
Yeah, fuck that.
But if he has this supervisor who we've never seen, maybe he is low-level. But he's granted time off. They're out of there. It's like Beverly Hillbillies, and they go to Capital City. And we get that cool song. They meet, what's his name? Tony Bennett.
Capital City. I love
it.
Song.
I think that was on the first Songs in the Key of Springfield, the first Simpsons album.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Okay, going back to the rewind segment. I forgot. Homer gave the Lou Gehrig speech at the Isotope Stadium whenever he was leaving.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I forgot to take notes about that.
Everybody knows. Everyone who loves baseball knows the Lou Gehrig speech. Former Yankee great. Had to leave because he had that famous disease named after him.
Mr. Hollywood.
Mr. His own name. Anyways, that was iconic. Like Homer's speech to the stadium was taken from the real world in the 40s.
It was said.
30s.
Like a lot of things in pop culture, I was aware of the Simpsons doing it before I was aware of the real thing, you know?
Right.
Like, I didn't see this until I was watching some NFL films later on or something, you know?
Yeah. And by the way,
as a kid, this scene was cool to see because it was so just, it did feel heavy, you know? You could tell that Homer was really moving on from something meaningful to him, just like I'm sure the real Lou Gehrig in this scene was doing.
the music is great. Tony Bennett's great. Did you like all like the little sightseeing that they were doing, like all the big things that were in Capital City? The, I guess, bootleg neon signs everywhere.
Damn, and this was apparently the scene that originated something that's been going on in The Simpsons for so long, where, you know, there's two different scenes that mimic this. The introduction of a new place, where they show off all the new shit, or where somebody's just like kind of going off on their own with their thoughts, and they kind of show all of the signs of the businesses that they're passing. But this scene established something that The Simpsons just continuously return to over and over, where they're seeing all the cool shit and all of the signs of, it's like just so overwhelming, you know?
I really like the bootleg T-shirt Emporium neon sign.
That was great. Oh, and you know what really sells Homer is the Duff Brewery. I thought that was fun too.
The Duff Brewery's in Capital City. Also,
Homer,
people clean windshields for free there.
people do what?
People clean your windshields for free.
Oh yeah. I guess like people from the small town of Springfield aren't familiar with how things work in the big city.
Yeah, that should be happening at every streetlight.
They'd be nice folks. But when people are on board, like, you know, not only do you get your windows washed, you know, you get to see street crime. A lot of shit happens.
The Tony Bennett soundtrack made it super legit, right? It was actually Tony Bennett singing it, and it was like an original Simpsons song or whatever.
Yeah. And this is the first person in the Simpsons that played themselves. So I guess this was kind of a big milestone for the Simpsons, that they, once again, like the Capital City scene that we're talking about, they kind of return to the well a bunch and have people play themselves.
Very cool.
So yeah, Capital City is cool. We don't get a lot of insight into where the Simpsons are staying, but It's cool that Homer gets the tour of the stadium. You know, he gets to go out, walk out into the field, and go into the locker room and have a talk with famous Capital City Goofball.
There's already, I guess, like 17, 18 minutes into the episode to like, what, 80% done. So it's like, I wish they could have gone more into detail with where they were staying. But I guess the wait was cool because like we saw that in the Scorpio episode, like how living in a new house and a new place works for them.
They got more into the individual Simpson experience, like Marge drinking and Bart not fitting in.
For now, I'll just assume that they were staying at some sort of motel or hotel, Holiday Inn, and the Capital City Capitals paid for.
Yeah, they're getting treated pretty well. It seems like getting a chance to meet with the Capital City Goofball means a lot to Homer. You can tell because he's just so reverential toward him. I don't know the person who does the voice. Do you have any insight into who this person was?
Not at all. The actual voice, not at all. Also, like mascots never really have voices, so I'm assuming it was just a rando, right? Unless they brought in the Philly Fanatic voice, that'd be great.
So it was Tom Poston who did the voice of the Philly Fanatic. He was an old American television and film actor. Don't know if I have his numbers. He was in Princess Diaries too. Oh God, I don't know any of this shit.
Yeah, Unsolved Mysteries, new Netflix edition, taking Robert Stack's place.
Yeah, probably shit like that. Like when Joey Grieco got fired from Cheaters, he's like the second host or something.
And then he crashed into the Butabi brothers' car, so he had to get them into all the clubs, or else he would get sued.
Oh man, my subscription ran out on the Bukaki brothers, so no spoilers.
You gotta love the brothers.
The narrative arc, it's just something else.
Alaskan football team brothers.
Please, folks, just got to give it up for that narrative arc. All right.
Oh my God. I love this one.
Okay, so the Capital City Goofball scene in the locker room, this has a lot of kind of like when Homer was giving the Lou Gehrig's speech.
Yeah, he loved it, right?
It has a lot of weight to it. This is a very important scene, you can tell. You get insight into Homer being sort of not ready for it, scared. You could tell, right? Like he feels
at least Paul wasn't being an asshole, right? Like he was like trying to like be a mentor to him or whatever.
He was hyping up the gig too, which is what you want, right? When you're going into a gig.
Yeah. The worst thing you want is the guy training you being like, man, this place sucks.
No, it's like the crowd is all yours, you know? They're waiting for you.
And he got a certain inning, right? Whenever the goofball had to take a piss.
It was the fifth inning. He's getting old. He needed some time off to piss, and who knows what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So, I guess and then it transitions very quickly, folks, to the actual first game for Homer in Capital City, and he's just kind of sitting there on the sidelines eating multiple hot dogs and Red Hots.
He told the goofball wanted to know what he had planned for them, and he said, I dance and spell out the name of the city. Hell yeah, cheap pop for any city you ever go to.
Oh, you know what?
Austin, who's ready to rock? You know, shit like that.
Well, YMCA. That's why the song is so popular, because you get to spell out YMCA.
All to the tune of Baby Elephant Walk.
This story, I guess, Dancin Homer was based on a real guy, Wild Bill Hagee?
What team? Was he minor or major league?
No, he's just like some sort of super fan guy that was in the audience for the Orioles.
Okay.
So it's
Baltimore?
like, I guess, they made some sort of like documentary. I guess he was just like a fixture, you know?
I guess there used to be a lot of crazy ass fans, right? Cool fan.
Like, remember the John 316 guy?
That's the other guy. So that was the triumvirate. It was whoever Dancin Homer was based on.
The rainbow wig. Oh, that was a John 316 guy.
Rainbow Wig 316 guy. I saw some documentary on ESPN where he was like at every important event for a couple years. And then the third guy, which is the fan guy, who they made fun of in the boxing episode, the fan man or whatever.
Oh yeah, that guy.
That guy used to go to sporting events all the time.
And even at a cool concert, you'll see somebody like that. Like, oh yeah, I see them at a lot of concerts, and they really hype it up, you know. So it was kind of cool to see Homer kind of filling that role in this scene. Well, even though he's drinking a tub of beer and eating too much before the show, like that's not really a good sign, I guess.
You know, to each his own.
Well, yeah. You would want, I mean, that's probably not a bad mindset to go into it. Just treat it like any other gig, you know?
Yeah. I mean, he was mentioned again, but it didn't go as good as it did in Springfield.
Oh, boy, yeah. When Homer's retelling the story to everybody in the bar, he's saying that you could hear every smart-ass comment.
Mr. Showmanship.
And yeah, there's no relief until he gets dragged out of there by the Philly fanatic after his piss break.
Niche humor plays on a grand level. The people love it. Generally.
It's true. But I mean, a sad end for Homer. I mean, this is the first and last appearance of Dancin Homer with the Capital City Capitals.
There's a good costume for another Halloween, right? Dancin Homer.
It doesn't seem too hard either.
Old. It's from 1990.
You could be Dancin Homer. I'll be Dancin Herb Powell.
Okay, cool. We'll be the talk of the party.
Yeah. Like, hey, remember? Or the other way around.
These guys are eating all the food.
Yeah. They're getting into a fight with the host's boyfriend.
They keep hovering over the chicken and like they're having new conversations with each other over it.
Hey, we just like to have a good time, folks. And a compliment to the chef.
That may or may not be an actual retelling of an actual party that we're not sure ever went to.
Listen, we're a very social podcast, and we love to interact with the community. And that's really the final word on the subject. Please reach out to our lawyer, Cold Battle, for anything else.
Those cornball antics play here.
Absolutely, folks. Oh, shit. He is summoned into the office directly after the game, right? Like, he's still nude in his jockstrap while he gets fucking fired from the team.
Yeah. The jockstrap. Everything's showing, but not everything, I guess.
And sometimes when you're real sad, like, the penis will become sad and retreat into your body.
You told, yeah. The opening creates some sort of frown-looking thing.
That's probably what happened here to Homer. It was a bummer. Hey, we didn't even get a goodbye scene with the Philly fanatic or whatever his name is.
You never said bye to him. Do you think he remembers Dancin Homer?
We see him later on in the series, but like it's nothing significant. So as a fan, personally, I'm pissed off.
I'm so pissed. Is this another time where we open up and say we would write an additional scene here?
Yeah, honestly, I would. They probably had to cut it for time because they had to spend a solid minute on the national anthem gag.
Yeah, with bleeding gum.
Where apparently a writer has an issue with people singing too long on the national anthem. Who cares? It's a corny song. Just take the whole thing out.
The more American you're being.
Yeah, let's change the national anthem. Maybe replace it with the Simpsons theme song. Just a hunch. Try it out, folks. I can see it now.
At the Olympics, the LeBron's getting the gold medal. They're playing his anthem.
You can even do cool different versions of it. Like you don't always have to play like the classical music version, you know. You could do the rock and roll version like Jimi Hendrix.
Sonic Youth. Just play the disco music from Hellfish that we played as the return music.
That's not bad, folks. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. And listen, it's a bummer. Even though this was supposed to be like a really dance-heavy episode of The Simpsons, I don't think they feature enough dance music. Hopefully, we've remedied that for the podcast.
We didn't want to make this a very dance-centric episode.
Yeah. So you should turn up this episode. Listen to it with headphones.
Yeah. Bass boosted.
It's a bummer that everybody's bummed. For a split second, Bart respected Homer, but everybody's got to go home. Back to Springfield. Taking Route 401. Woo!
Yes. We need some Bon Jovi in here.
Yeah. I noticed all the speed limits in this episode were 55. Like when they got to Capital City and they were checking out the bridge and all that. So they're back in Springfield. Everything is back to normal. Homer is fired, and I guess he goes back to the power plant. But everybody at Moe's loves his story of degradation and humiliation, including the two randos in the bar who, although one of the guys, we seen one of the guys who was singing karaoke. I think he's based on Richard Sakai, one of the guys who works on The Simpsons, but I don't know what capacity he works on The Simpsons.
And then there was that's not Carl. There's somebody else there.
I don't TV producer.
Oh, you know what? That other guy looks like the guy that was singing karaoke whenever the kids were at the Akira restaurant.
Yeah, it's that same guy. Yes.
Right?
And he's based on Richard Sakai.
Okay, that makes sense.
Hey, and I think I saw David Silverman animated into this episode in the baseball stands too.
Really?
Yeah, just sitting there with the heavy eyebrows.
That's a lot of people at Moe's. Usually it's just 4 people.
Yeah. After that, they stopped really featuring randos too much.
Yeah. It's Homer and Moe and you and me.
And Joey Jojo Jr. Shabadoo. Listen, folks, that's pretty much the end of Dancin Homer.
Really again.
I felt tricked. I felt betrayed by this episode. I felt real pissed off because they made me feel a lot of, what do you call it? Like
we took
nostalgia.
We took Molly before the episode because we were like, man, we need to be in like a dancing mood. Like it's a super dance episode. Okay. Gotta have music ready.
I was eating like slices of, what do you call it? Grapefruit just to fucking get into it, you know? Okay. Well, since this is a dance episode of the show, instead of doing the end credits music, we can do the ratings over this music. I just hope it doesn't like get us pulled down.
No, there's no way that Darude Sandstorm will get us pulled down. This song's been around forever. Okay, I think this song was on the first recording I ever did on my tape recorder.
No way, really?
Yeah. It was this song and like the Blade song being mixed into each other for some reason on a late night radio station, whatever.
You know, I remember having a hard time because sometimes they would talk over the song and like it would piss me off.
Yeah. I hate when people talk over the song and you can't hear the song that's playing in the background.
Those people are just terrible DJs, terrible podcasters, terrible presenters of audio content, period.
Everyone knows that you want to hear the content. Like if the song is playing, you want to hear just the song.
That's true. So yeah, folks, that's just real crummy audio. Fortunately, we're not that. We are the complete opposite end of the spectrum. And you know what? I guess if you were to ask me, I would have a wonderful rating for this episode. I'm gonna go ahead and give you a rating here, and that's gonna be 66 Red Hots, folks.
Oh shit!
You know where I'm coming from.
I enjoy that rating. My rating for this episode is going to be 5 smiley faces on an employee report card.
Whoa.
So, doing good. Keep up the good work there. Employee.
It's true, folks. Yeah, just put a smile on your face. Keep it in that sunshiny place.
Yeah. Or just like order like a bunch of stickers from eBay. and manipulate your employee card. I'm sure that's what the 90s did.
And speaking of stickers, folks, we hope to be able to head to a Round Rock Express game here locally. And would the street team please turn out? We got some new stickers coming soon, folks.
Big Ed putting up stickers.
You can be a part of history. And listen, if you would like exclusive news, be the first to hear about it on Patreon. Support us there, please, if you would like. The show is listener supported, kind of like PBS. That's real, like, artistic shit.
Thanks to viewers and listeners.
Patreon.com/Eat My Short Spot. Thank you, patrons. Listen, GrackleStudio.com, stuff going up there. Support the show. We are doing remote signings here of our vinyl albums of the podcast, folks. We'll be here for the rest of the evening. And that's pretty much it. Eat My Shorts Pod, Twitter, Instagram. I haven't put the Facebook up yet. Listen, I'll get to it. I've said that for like 3 weeks in a row.
We got a couple stragglers on the old stickers too. So if you want some of the old ones, let us know before they run out.
Yeah, the idea is to be able to do a sticker pack real soon, folks. And some buttons also. All right, keep watching the skis. Woo! Thank you, shorties. Thank you, Irvin.
The dance episode.
My shorts.
Cracker!